Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm Brahmachari Jemal. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to all be together. So normally on Thursday evenings, we take a reading from the Gita. So this one is 335, if I can find it. There it is. To do one's own duty, even unsuccessfully, is better than to do someone else's duty successfully. It is better to die while trying to accomplish one's own duty than to settle for another's duty, though safer and easier, which course is filled with danger and uncertainty. So this evening I would like to speak just a little bit about duty, and that it's better to even die trying to do our own duty than someone else's duty. When I think of duty, that all of us know that we have some duty or another in this world. Probably many people here have children, have a family, and think that one of their duties is to give their child or children a better life than they had. And that's a reasonable duty. This is a good idea. And even if we don't have children, that we should strive to have that same attitude, that we want to give someone at least a better life than we have had. And there's many different ways that we can do this. Through helping educate people or giving money where it's needed or whatever the case may be. But there's something much more to duty than just helping outwardly, say with education of teaching someone mathematics or something. It's a good thing, but certainly our highest duty for everyone is to find God. But that path is a long and winding path that we take many, many incarnations in order to find God. Although it doesn't need to be that way. That once we've gone far enough through many incarnations and we say, gosh, there must be something more here. That there must be something more to life than just having a beautiful house or a beautiful car. And then the search really begins. And first, God comes to us through books, through lesser teachers. But if we really, really are earnest, and we really feel that our highest duty in life is to find God, then God will come to us in the form of a true guru. And then we're really safe. That then we will know whatever the guru tells us to do, that's our duty. And we have to do it, even die trying, in order to do that duty. Now, here, our guru Paramahansa Yogananda left his body a while back. And so then the question becomes, well, now, how do I know what to do? That the guru is not in his body. And Master, in one of his talks, and I urge everyone to listen to all of his audio recordings, one of his talks he says, follow the living link. And we can interpret that many different ways. But it's a wonderful thing that there always will be people that are wiser than us. That if you think there's no one out there wiser than you, then I think you might have a little bit of an ego problem. That there's always someone out there wiser than you, so you can turn towards these people. Also, following the living link means to follow your own inner joy, your own inner inspiration. That you can ask sensitively on the inside of what is right, what is wrong, what is taking you towards greater freedom, or what is taking you away from that. And on one level, we do have to learn to listen to our own heart. Now, if our heart has static in it, restlessness, praying, saying, God, what do you want me to do? But I really, really think that you really want me to go that way, right? Right? Isn't that what you want, God? Then we won't be able to listen sensitively. And similarly, that our intellect, our discrimination, that it also can be infiltrated by the army of desires, and then we won't be able to think clearly. Yet, at the end of the day, even with great clarity, we still do need a guru. We need someone who can take us and show us the absolute highest things in life. Now, I was just talking and saying that one of the things that can be our guide is inspiration. And we were having a very interesting talk a few days ago in the monastery of inspiration versus duty. That this says that we have to do our duty, but if you think about it, that there's many different things in life that they are our duty, and whether we like it or not, we still have to do it. But if we're inspired, if we can find some way to do that, even though we might not like to do it, it becomes vastly easier. There's a story that Swami Ananda tells of a monk at Mount Washington, and he was assigned to water flowers and other plants on this steep hillside. And he just hated the job because it was steep, it was muddy, it was wet, and he'd be slipping, and he just didn't like it whatsoever. But this went on months and months. I guess the monks every morning there, they'd assign, okay, now you, Bob, go water the hillside. You're doing such a great job. And inwardly he'd think, oh, why do I have to do this duty? Why me? But one morning, he woke up and he decided, well, if Divine Mother's going to give this to me day after day, I may as well just learn to like it. And today I'm going to do this with a smile on my face, and I'm just going to be happy about it. And then that day, they assigned someone else to water the hillside, and he never had to do it again. And it brings me to an interesting, it's a little bit of a theory of my own, but also Swamiji did say this to some regard, that I think that we have to do almost every duty that you could think that is out there. That in some incarnation we'll be a plumber, some incarnation we'll be an electrician, some incarnation will be sweeping the street, some incarnation will be in administration. And actually none of these are more important than any of the others. That today someone asked me, will you help fix this camera? And I thought, I don't know how to fix the camera, but I thought, well, I have a few minutes. I can at least have the right attitude, and I can try. And I didn't succeed, but I feel the important thing here is our attitude. That it's so easy for us to say, that's not my job. Go find the expert on the camera. I don't know. No, sorry, I'm too busy. But if we have that attitude of, that's not my job, then you can be sure that in some incarnation or another, or if you're serious about your Kriya and finding liberation in this lifetime, you can be sure that Divine Mother will find a way to give you that duty somehow in this incarnation. So it really comes down to our heart, our attitude, that if someone asks us to do something that we don't like to do, we can at least try to do it. And it doesn't mean that we have to become great at everything and be an all-rounder, I think, as it's called in cricket, and be good at all of it. That it's more, are we willing? And even if we are legitimately too busy to do everything, we can't do everything, it's having that attitude of, well, I wish that I could help you, but I'm just too busy here, and perhaps we can find another solution. And then if we have that attitude, then we're really on our way to being able to do our duty in the way that it needs to be done. And again, our highest duty is to find God, is to be acting in this world only to be pleasing God. Now I want to get to the next part of this, where it says that it is better to die while trying to accomplish one's own duty. You know, if you read the book, The New Path, that there's a part in there, I believe it's in that book, and Swamiji and Master are having a conversation, and they're talking about how strong some of the delusions are, and for some reason they were talking about the delusion of sex, and Swamiji had kind of seen through that. He saw that it was a delusion, and that he wanted nothing to do with it anymore. And so he said to Master, I don't remember the exact words, but something like, I'd rather die than give in to that delusion again. And Master said, whoa, wait, don't take up this new karma of suicide or something like that. I forget the exact verbal exchange, but it was like, yes, you do need to be serious about this as you're fighting Maya, but you don't have to take it up into that regard of that I'd rather die outwardly like this than ever give in to something like that again. In fact, the more we get emotionally riled up like that and push anything away, the more it's just going to come back again. That if someone says, do you want chocolate? Oh, no. God, no, I never, ever eat chocolate. You can be sure that you'll find yourself munching away one day in secret going, uh-oh, I hope no one finds out about this. There was a man at the village who supposedly only ate foods that were white. He didn't live at the village. He was one of these people who just passed through. And then someone one day caught him eating chocolate, and it was going around the village. He said, no, it was white chocolate. It was white chocolate. But we don't really need any of this type of attitude at all. That just be exactly who you are. And this is the point of this reading today, that you have to do your duty. You have to, the Greeks say, to thine own self be true. And it's a very interesting thing that as people grow, and this one's, working out his electrician karma, and this one's working out his administrator karma, and all of this, it's easy to think that, well, Swamiji led his life like this and like this, so I'm also going to emulate that. And that's right. We want to do that to some regard, but it's not going to be perfectly outwardly. It simply can't be. And for one person, their last incarnation may be to be an administrator. For another person, their last incarnation might be gardening, loving the flowers, and that's just all that they need to do in this incarnation. So we can't really judge our inward progress by others' outward accomplishments. And really, our outward accomplishments, all of these incarnations that we live, it's really only to do one thing: to make us stronger in ourselves, in our true self, to give us that willpower, that we know what we're trying to do. We know that our highest duty is to find God, and then we set everything we have towards that. There's another story of Swamiji that one day he was meditating, and he just felt that he was tired of having this ego in the background of his mind, just always chattering away, saying, you'd really be happy if you had this, or why don't we just try this? We've never tried that before. That'll probably make us happy. He knew this ego just chatting away back there was never going to make him happy. And in deep meditation, he cast his ego out, just firmly, strongly, get out. And then after meditation, he came out and Master patted him and said, very good. That Master knew exactly what had happened in his meditation. So this understanding that we have to die while trying to accomplish one's own duty, it's really an inner job. That if we go inside deep in Hong Sa, do you know that if you practice Hong Sa, that a great saint, he can just with Hong Sa go breathless, just sitting there practicing Hong Sa, just watching. And all these little thoughts that are coming in, just gently pushing them away and coaxing his own energy up to this highest place. And this is what it really means in order to die, accomplishing one's own duty. That we're dying to this sense of ego, that we're dying to the restless demands of the breath and all of these desires, that's all settling down, and the little self, the liar, the one who has seized the throne, that we cast him out. But that has to be done inwardly. I want to go back to inspiration versus duty. That once someone asked Master, is it possible to find inspiration at will? Because again, if we're just doing our duty and there's no inspiration, sometimes in life we have to do a little of that. But if there's no inspiration, ultimately that's going to dry up. But if we can have inspiration at will, that's really the highest thing, and then we learn how to have that balance. So someone asked Master, is it possible to have inspiration at will? And Master said, absolutely. And Master then composed a poem, and in just one more minute here, I'll read that poem for you and close with that. But before I get to that, I want to just make one more point, and that it goes back to duty and what is our highest duty. And once Master asked someone a question, and he said, what do you think is the greatest sin? In God's eyes, what is the greatest sin? And think about that for a moment. And then Master's answer was, the greatest sin is not to be happy. So that's our highest duty, and that's actually, it's a very deep thing if you think about it. That why did God create you? He didn't create you to suffer or to have all these problems. He created you so that you could live in His joy. And the more we get rid of all of our own egoic personal desires, the more we tune in and follow God's will and feel God's will deep in our heart, the more that we can live in that joy. And it doesn't matter that we have a festival called the Festival of Light, and that even the worst of sinners, that karma can be overcome, that it can be redeemed, it can be given back and exchanged for God's joy. And it can be done in this lifetime. So again, don't compare yourself outwardly. Don't think, well, I have this karma, that karma, I have this heavy duty. It absolutely doesn't matter. It's not yours. It's not your karma. It never was yours. It's always been God's. That He was the one who gave it. He's the one who will take it right back. And then you can work out all that karma in the future once you become a Jivan Mukta. But in the moment, give yourself. Give yourself back to God deeply. It's the whole purpose of all of these incarnations. And it can go on, or we can end it, really, right here and now, by just saying, God, inwardly, I give everything to you. So let me read you this poem that Master composed at will. I'll actually just read the whole thing here. Someone once asked Yogananda, is it possible for inspiration to be under the control of one's own will? Yes, indeed, the Master replied. He was very busy just then dressing to go give a lecture. Seating himself, he said, take down this poem. O Father, when I was blind, I found not a door which led to thee. But now that thou hast opened my eyes, I find doors everywhere, through the hearts of flowers, through the voice of friendship, through sweet memories of all lovely experiences. Every gust of my prayer opens a new door in the vast temple of thy presence. So, a little poem by Master there. So we'll conclude now.